How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be covering the best Pokemon you can power up as of August 2025. We have gotten a lot of new Pokemon added to the game this year, and so I really wanted to do a mid-year update covering the new best Pokemon. This list will be focused on the best attackers for the Raid/Gym meta, which is also going to include Shadow Pokemon. On top of that, I'm also going to make sure to go over any other relevance for the featured Pokemon that they might have. For example, they could be relevant in PvP, Rocket Battles, Max Battles, stuff like that. And throughout this video, there will be various S-tier Pokemon featured, so make sure you guys do watch it all the way through, or you might end up missing something really good. Like I said, there have been a lot of new additions to the meta this year, a lot more than I even expected, so it's actually pretty exciting. Also, because this is going to be a mid-year update, I am going to skip past the fundamentals in this video specifically and jump straight into the featured Pokemon. If you guys do want to check out the fundamentals section, I strongly recommend watching the video I uploaded back in February, which goes over the best Pokemon to power up, and that kind of dives into it a little bit deeper in terms of how you want to power up Pokemon. But anyways, with all that being said, we have a lot of exciting Pokemon to talk about right now, so let's jump straight into it. So first of all, let's go over fire types, and no surprise here, Mega Charizard Y and Mega Blaziken are going to remain at the top two spots with Fire Spin and Blast Burn on both. Now, both of these Pokemon are probably not going to move anytime soon, so if you do end up getting the Hundos, I would encourage you to actually invest into them and build them. That being said though, I am going to make one small adjustment when it comes down to building Mega Charizard Y, and that's because we also have access to G-Max Charizard now as well. What I would recommend doing moving forward is that if a Pokemon does have a Gigantamax option, and it's also meta-relevant in other aspects of the game, I would try and build the Gigantamax version of it, because then you could also use that as your Mega Evolution as well, opposed to having like a separate Mega Charizard Y and then also a separate Gigantamax Charizard, which is what I currently have set up right now, but that's because I've been playing this game for a long time. And personally, to me, it wasn't even that big of an issue. My Gigantamax Charizard is only level 30, so like, it's definitely usable. It has its max attack already upgraded to level 3, and then when it comes down to my Mega Charizard Y, I have that powered up to level 50, which of course is pretty damn awesome. So again, it's up to you if you want to kind of conserve resources in this way moving forward. It's not like a big deal either way if you already had one build, and you just have to kind of build a separate one moving forward as well, but I just kind of wanted to highlight that. There are going to be a few other Pokemon that I mentioned in this video that have both a Mega form as well as a Gigantamax form, so I kind of just wanted to touch on that right now as we get started. But anyways, moving on as far as fire types go, the next two are going to be Shadow Heatran and then Reshiram. These two are amazing. Now, Shadow Heatran was only available from Giovanni, I think it was back during January, so if you happen to get one of these and you got it with a decent IV spread, I would definitely recommend taking it to like level 40. That's what I personally did. It's been a great fire type attacker to use. Now, when it comes down to Reshiram though, you could basically get the same power potential as Shadow Heatran. Like, Shadow Heatran is only slightly better than Reshiram here, but you can lucky trade Reshiram, and then you can power it up for half the amount of Stardust. As long as it has Fusion Flare, and even if it doesn't, like, Overheat is still really good on it. You could always Elite Team later if you really wanted to, but Reshiram, in my opinion, is probably the best budget option you can get from like a lucky trade standpoint. So if you don't have any good fire types, you don't have Mega Charizard Y, Mega Blaziken, but you can get a lucky traded Reshiram, that's going to be an amazing Pokemon to build for your fire type teams. Next up, let's take a look at our grass types. So not really too many changes in terms of the grass types compared to earlier this year. Mega Sceptile is still going to be the GOAT with Bullet Seed plus a Legacy Charge move Frenzy Plant. You're going to have Kartana, which is personally my favorite grass type Pokemon to use in the game right now with Razor Leaf plus Leaf Blade, no legacy movesets. You also have Zarude with Vine Whip plus Power Whip, and some people decided to bottle cap this Pokemon. Don't know if that was like the smartest move. It's a good grass type attacker, but its Master League relevance isn't as good as it once was. And then finally we have Shaman Skyform, which is going to be another mythical Pokemon with Magical Leaf and Grass Knot. No legacy movesets there as well, and that's going to be another solid grass type Pokemon you could power up if you just wanted to have something different. But overall, I think my favorite Pokemon and my top recommendation for the grass type category is going to be Kartana. Its usability in Pokemon Go is just so good. Following that, let's take a look at our water type Pokemon, and you know, I kind of cut this list down a little bit because the MVP here is just one singular Pokemon. That's going to be Kyogre. Kyogre is the GOAT, whether you have a Shadow Kyogre, a regular Kyogre, Primal Kyogre. I mean, as long as you have Kyogre, you're set. And we did have Kyogre in rotation a few months ago, so you guys did actually have a chance to get this. And if you did happen to miss it, hopefully somebody can lucky trade it to you, and then you should be good to go. Now, at the time of making this video, we are actually going to have a Shadow Kyogre raid weekend on August 16th and August 17th. I strongly recommend participating in this raid weekend, guys. Farm up as many of these as you possibly can. Regardless of the IVs, if you just caught like 5 Shadow Kyogre over that weekend, you're gonna be solid as far as a water type team goes for the rest of Pokemon Go. I mean, probably not for the rest of Pokemon Go, but I don't see anything topping this in the near future. Like, we'd have to get something crazy like Apex Shadow Kyogre. So yeah, this is the best of the best right now. Like, next to Primal Kyogre, there's nothing better than Shadow Kyogre. So if you are watching this video after this date, I hope you did at least get some, because basically all of your resources, if possible, should just go into this Pokemon. It is going to cost a lot of rare candy, a lot of Kyogre candy, but it is well worth it. Now, I do also want to mention Kyogre does have access to a signature moveset called Origin Pulse, but you don't actually need to have it. If you just run Surf, it's really, really good as well. Now, with that being said, there are going to be some other good water types you could power up, but because we're going over the best Pokemon you can power up in this video, I'm not going to talk about them. If you guys do want to check out a more expanded list on water type Pokemon you could invest into, then I'm going to recommend this video right here on my Clips channel. Next up, let's take a look at the electric type category, and we actually have a new best Pokemon to power up in this category. I thought Shadow Raikou was going to be like the best of the best for years to come, but that is not the case anymore. The new #1 Pokemon you can power up is going to be Regieleki. Now, Regieleki does need to have the Legacy Charge move Thunder Cage, which was actually available on it during the rotation that we just had before Go Fest, so hopefully you guys did take advantage of that. I did strongly recommend rating for that a few months ago, so if you were watching my videos, hopefully you guys did. And I just recently got the Lucky Hundo with a background from a Lucky trade that I did, so I have to max this out. I don't have the candy for it just yet because I invested it all into my Zacian and Zamazenta, but oh my goodness, I am so excited to power this thing up, and then I do have to raid more for it, I guess, in the future to get it to level 50. But this thing is the best when it comes down to raid battles. In terms of other aspects of the game, maybe not so much, so specifically when it comes down to raid battles, if you guys do want to have the best electric type option, Regieleki is your guy. Now, I do still really like Shadow Raikou, and it's a close second here. It's not like it got bumped down a lot, or at least Regieleki wasn't so much higher. Like, they're both really strong picks. So Shadow Raikou is another strong option that I would recommend. Not to mention, you can also have Volt Switch on Shadow Raikou, which is super good against Rocket Grunts for that heavy damage. And then we do have a few other good options as well that I'm going to quickly run through. So Zekrom with Fusion Bolt is still going to be a solid pick. You could also run Wild Charge because Fusion Bolt is going to be a Legacy Charge move. It's really not a big deal if you don't have Fusion Bolt, so yeah, just keep that in mind if you wanted to build a Zekrom. That Pokemon is also very good as an electric type option. We have Thunderous Therian form with Wild Bolt Storm, which is very important to have on it. That does make a nice difference in terms of DPS. And then we also have Shadow Electivire, which is probably the best Shadow option you guys can build next to Shadow Raikou. For that one, you want to have Thunder Shock plus Wild Charge. Next up, let's take a look at our Flying type Pokemon. No big meta updates here. Mega Rayquaza is still going to be the GOAT with Air Slash and Dragon Ascent. Dragon Ascent does require the use of a Meteorite, and we haven't gotten that item back in Pokemon Go for a while now, so I mean, hopefully that does come back sometime before the end of the year. That would be really nice, but if it doesn't, maybe sometime next year. Just by itself, using a Meteorite on your Rayquaza is going to make it the best Flying type attacker in the game, non-Mega. It smokes everything else, so if you guys do have extra Meteorites, it could be worth using at least one extra one. It's definitely worth it, and I don't think we're going to get Shadow Rayquaza in Pokemon Go anytime soon. We basically skipped over it in terms of the Giovanni rotation. I think that's because it would just be so powerful, and the creators of this game probably don't want that just yet. So yeah, if you guys do have extra Meteorites, I would consider using at least, one or two of them on Rayquaza, and that should be pretty good for right now. You can save the rest for Shadow Rayquaza if we ever get it. Now, on top of that, we do have Shadow Moltres with Wing Attack and Sky Attack. Sky Attack is going to be a Legacy Charge move. This is the next best option you guys could build if you don't actually have Rayquaza with Dragon Ascent. When it comes down to Shadow Moltres, Sky Attack is the only Flying type charge move it does get access to, so you do have to use an Elite TM if you want to make this viable as a Flying type. Otherwise, I go with one of the other options I'm about to mention. So I think the easiest one to get, and not that it's actually in Rocket Battles right now, but Shadow Staraptor is really close when it comes down to Shadow Moltres with the Legacy Fast move Gust along with Fly. Now, you don't need to have the Legacy Fast move. It's going to be a little bit worse off if you don't, but it's not like a deal breaker. And then overall, I think like the most accessible option is probably going to be Yveltal with a Gust plus Oblivion Wing. It's still going to be a Legacy Charge move there, so that is going to require an Elite TM. But this one can be Lucky traded, doesn't have to have any Meteorites to get Dragon Ascend. And so when it comes down to Flying types, like if you're looking to get one for right now, and you at least have one Elite Charge TM, Yveltal probably seems like the best move. Rayquaza is good, don't get me wrong, but it really does want to have Dragon Ascend in order for it to be like above everything else. Poison type Pokemon are going to be up next, so we do have a few options here, and we actually have a new one as well. So even though it isn't going to get access to a Poison type fast move, Mega Gengar with Lick or Shadow Claw plus Sludge Bomb is going to be the best option you can use as a Poison type attacker. It has crazy DPS, guys. Honestly, it's so damn powerful. But if you just want to have a pure poison type, Mega Beedrill will be your next best option with Poison Jab plus Sludge Bomb. And then following that, we are going to have Shadow Gengar, same moveset that I just mentioned for Mega Gengar. And then for a pure poison type, now Ego is probably your best non-Mega option. And that is going to be with Poison Jab plus Sludge Bomb once again. You only get access to one Eternatus, so I mean, use that how you will. I'm going to talk about it later in the Dragon type section. It's much, much better there, so as a poison type, I would still stick with your Nal Ego. That's going to be the best of the best. Let's go ahead and move on now, though, to the Ghost type section. So we have a few good options to talk about here. Nothing really that new. There's like one new Pokemon that I will mention at the end here. But the GOAT is still going to remain as Dawnwing's Necrozma, I think more now than ever because we got Zacian and Zamazenta. We haven't gotten the ability to get the energy for the Necrozma fusions, and I don't know when we're going to actually get the ability to get the energy again. But once we do, I would definitely prioritize Dawnwing's Necrozma opposed to Duskmane Necrozma. Not to mention, if you do happen to get the Hundo as well, Dawnwing's Necrozma ranks at number 5 right now in the Open Master League. I recently did make the decision to finally fuse my Hundo Necrozma to get another Dawnwings, and I do not regret it. I already maxed it out to level 50. I'm working on getting it to Best Buddy status. It's gonna be pretty damn good, so I'm excited for that guy. Now on top of that, to pair together with your Dawnwings Necrozma, you do also want to have Mega Gengar. Now earlier in the video, we talked about Gigantamax Charizard and Mega Charizard Y. Same situation applies here with Gigantamax Gengar and Mega Gengar. If you already have a Mega Gengar build, don't worry about this, but if you're just coming back to the game, you don't have a Mega Gengar build, definitely try to get a good G-Max Gengar and then use it as both. Now following that, we do have a few other good Ghost type options. The next one is going to be Chandelure, Shadow Chandelure I should say, with Hex plus Shadow Ball. Then we're also going to have Shadow Gengar with Lick or Shadow Claw plus Shadow Ball. And then we actually have a new addition because I just got access to Shadow Claw recently, and that's going to be Lunala. Yeah, just by itself, Lunala is actually one of the best Ghost type options to use in the game right now. You can also Lucky Trade this, so if you do happen to get that Hundo, keep in mind it is also really good to use in the Open Master League. You don't even have to fuse it. I think that's actually pretty crazy. Like, you can both go with Dawnwings Necrozma, the fusion form of this, or just the standard Lunala, and it'll still be great to use. One of my friends has had insane luck. They got both the Hundo Lunala and the Hundo Solgaleo in just a few raids. I think their Solgaleo was like the first or second raid, and then their Lunala, they literally said right before the raid even started, I'm gonna get the Hundo right now. And then they actually got the Hundo. It was definitely one of the craziest things I've actually seen in this game. Like, for someone to just manifest a Hundo, especially a Hundo Lunala, that was wild, man. I wish I could do that. Moving on, let's take a look at our Psychic type options next. Nothing has really changed here. Shadow Mewtwo is still going to be the GOAT with Confusion plus Psystrike. Psystrike is going to be a legacy charge move. Don't get me wrong, if you can upgrade to get Psystrike, I do think it is worth it, but even just running like Confusion plus Psychic on your Shadow Mewtwo with one that's actually kind of powered up, that's going to be the best of the best right now in this category. Next up, we are going to have Mega Alakazam, which is going to be the best Mega option currently with Confusion plus Psychic. Psychic is going to be a legacy moveset on Mega Alakazam, so if you do have it, great. If you don't, you could run Future Sight, I believe, as a second best option. Now, I don't know that I would necessarily build Mega Alakazam because most likely sometime next year, I'm predicting GoFest 2026, we're going to get Mega Mewtwo. Once Mega Mewtwo comes out, Mega Alakazam is just going to be forgotten about, so yeah, don't even worry about that. And then of course we do have regular Mewtwo with Confusion plus Psystrike. This can also be used in the Open Master League as well. This is a great option to build, especially if we do have another Shadow Raid Day for Mewtwo again. I personally do have a Hundo already maxed out. I worked really hard to get this one up to level 50. I don't say that lightly. Like, with most Pokemon, especially the legendary options as like a free-to-play player, it's really difficult and time-consuming to actually get those up to level 50. But the Hundo Mewtwo, man, it just had to happen. I'm ready for that Mega Evolution whenever it gets released. But again, my prediction is summer 2026. The reason I say that is because that's going to be the 10-year anniversary of Pokemon GO, so I think it makes sense. Next up, let's talk about our Dark-type Pokemon. No real big changes here. We have Mega Tyranitar as the best option with Bite plus Brutal Swing. We have Shadow Tyranitar, same moveset. The new addition here, though, is going to be Mega Absol and Shadow Absol, which got access to Brutal Swing during the Raid Day event. So for Shadow Absol, you obviously have to use an Elite Team to get this one, but for Mega Absol, if you were able to get a good IV spread during that event, you can definitely use that one as your Mega. You could also give it the Elite Team if you really wanted to, but I think compared to Mega Tyranitar, you know, that's obviously much better. Bug-type Pokemon are going to be up next. We have two options for the Megas that you can go with. We have Mega Heracross with Struggle Bug plus Mega Horn, and then we have Mega Pinsir with Fury Cutter plus X-Scissor. So Mega Pinsir did recently come back to Mega Raids. It was absent for a really long time. And I don't remember the last time we had Mega Heracross. I don't think it was that long ago, to be honest. But either way, those two options are excellent when it comes down to this category. But overall, I will say bug types don't get used as often in Pokemon Go. There are some Pokemon that are double weak to bug where you will actually use these, but for the most part, the other typings tend to cover them. And so, I don't know, I wouldn't invest too many resources into your bug types, maybe just like a few, like the Mega option, and then also we have the two regular options, Pheromosa with Bug Bite plus Bug Buzz, and then Volcarona with Bug Bite plus Bug Buzz as well. Now, Volcarona evolves from Larvesta, guys. That is a very rare Pokemon to get. It's hatch exclusive to my knowledge, which means that's going to take a lot of hatching, a lot of eggs, and it requires 400 candy to evolve. So if you got a really good IV spread, if you built up the candy, you can definitely invest into this one if you want to, as more of a fun bug type to run. And then Pheromosa is kind of a glass cannon. It's a good attacker, but it's super frail. Fighting type Pokemon are going to be up next. We have the GOAT Mega Lucario with Force Palm as a legacy fast move. That was a Raid Day exclusive moveset, plus Aura Spear. Now, Mega Lucario, honestly, just building this one Pokemon alone, that could be more than enough for you. With relobbying and just a bunch of max revives, Mega Lucario can take down a ton of Pokemon. You really don't even need to have like a lot of other fighting types anymore because Mega Lucario is actually that good. Not to mention, fighting type Pokemon are some of the most utilized Pokemon in Pokemon Go, so if you had to lucky trade anything, Riolu is a top priority. Now, on top of Mega Lucario, we do have two other options I do want to talk about. The next one is going to be Terrakion with Double Kick and Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword is going to be a legacy charge move, and then we do have Shadow Conkeldurr with Counter plus Dynamic Punch. Those two, next to Mega Lucario, are the best fighting types you can power up in the game. If you happen to get a really good IV spread on either of them, it is definitely worth taking to level 40. On top of that too, I do want to give an honorable mention to Keldeo, which actually ranks as a pretty good Master League option, and it's basically just slightly worse than Terrakion. The only reason Keldeo isn't as good as Terrakion because they have the exact same stats is because Keldeo doesn't have access to Double Kick. It uses low kick instead. Taking a look at our normal type options next, we only have two that I want to talk about here, and this is more just for fun. Typically, you don't want to use normal types because they don't do super effective damage against any Pokemon in the game, but if you wanted to have something fun that was just crazy powerful, Shadow Regigigas with Hidden Power plus Giga Impact, and specifically when it comes down to the Hidden Power, I would say Hidden Power Dragon or Hidden Power Ghost. Whatever typing you do end up getting, that's the one that you have on that Pokemon specifically. So if you had like Hidden Power Fire, you can't change that to a different Hidden Power typing. I forgot to add this to my spreadsheet, but Regigigas did actually get access to a legacy charge move that's supposed to be better than Giga Impact called Crush Grip. So if you wanted to give your your Shadow Regigigas specifically Crush Grip, I could definitely see that being worth it. I was lucky enough to get both a Hidden Power Dragon and a Hidden Power Ghost during the raid day for Shadow Regigigas, so I might do this in the future if I just get really bored. Next up, we have a pretty good typing to talk about. No big changes here either. We're going to have the rock types, so the top four options you can go with are going to be Mega Tyranitar, Mega Diancie, Shadow Rhyperior, and then Shadow Rampardos. Now, specifically right now, too, Shadow Rhyperior is actually really good in the Open Master League in the top 20. And then when it comes down to Mega Tyranitar, I do think that one is a bit more accessible when it comes down to the XLs. Personally speaking, I already have a Mega Tyranitar at level 50, so I'm not really worried as much about Mega Diancie, but I guess if you kind of have a lot of Rare Candy XL stockpiled up, Mega Diancie could be a really good option to invest into. I think when it comes down to all four of these Pokemon, they all have their own drawbacks, but regardless of which one you end up building, they're all going to be really good. Now, there is actually one honorable mention I want to go over that's going to be Shadow Tyrantrum, which got recently added into the rotation for the Team Go Rocket Grunts back in May. Now, this is slightly worse than Shadow Rampardos, but overall, compared to everything else, it's probably one of the more accessible Pokemon you can currently get right now in Pokemon Go. Keep in mind, we are going to have a rotation change on the 11th of August, so it might not be available as frequently in the Rocket Grunts anymore. I hope it is. And if it is, it's definitely one I would farm, because getting Shadow Rhydon from the Rocket Grunt, Shadow Rhyhorn from the Rocket Grunt is pretty hard to get, and same thing with Shadow Cranidos. I'm pretty sure that Pokemon is only raid exclusive. It may have been featured in Rocket Grunts, I don't remember completely, but either way, guys, when it comes down to it, if you wanted to build any of these, they're not all that accessible, and so Shadow Tyrantrum, which evolves from Shadow Tyrant, is probably going to be your next best option. So again, honorable mention here, it's not one of the four GOATs, but it's still pretty good. Next up, let's go over our ground-type Pokemon. Primal Groudon is still going to be the MVP with Mudshot plus Precipice Blades. Precipice Blades is going to require a Legacy charge move. Now, I would also recommend adding Fire Punch as a secondary charge move, which is also going to be Legacy, and that way you can also run this in the Open Master League. It also is going to help you out in Rocket Battles too, so yeah, all around when it comes down to building your best Groudon, that is the preferred way that I would do it. I have no regrets about mine. Shadow Groudon is also going to be relevant in the Open Master League, ranking in the top 30 right now, so it's not like it's terrible there. It's just that this Pokemon has only been available from Giovanni once, and so if you happen to get a good IV spread, yeah, you can definitely run it in that meta as well, but I think most players out there probably didn't. And we may get a Shadow Raid Day like we did for Kyogre. That could happen in like the next few months. And if we do, then by all means, go ahead and farm it up. But if not, you know, just mainly use for the Raid/Gym meta. You could even run Earthquake if you don't want to give it Precipice Blades, and that'd be perfectly fine. The next Pokemon I want to talk about here is going to be Landorus Therian form with Mudshot plus Sandsear Storm. This also ranks in the top 10 currently for the Open Master League, so it's a great Pokemon to build if you happen to get the Hundo. And then we do have Shadow Garchomp, which technically you would want to have Mudshot plus Earth Power. Earth Power is going to be a legacy moveset there, but you can honestly get away using Earthquake. There's not that much of a difference. Now we do also have an honorable mention that's going to be Shadow Excadrill with Mudslap plus Scorching Sands. This is really good to use in the Raid/Gym meta as well as against Rocket Grunts because it gets access to Mudslap. Next up, let's go over Ice-type Pokemon, and we do actually have a new number 1 in this category, something that is so much better than Shadow Mamoswine. That's going to be White Kyurem with Ice Fang plus Ice Burn. Now keep in mind, before you actually fuse together Kyurem with your Reshiram, you want to make sure that it has a Glaciate. Like your Kyurem has to have Glaciate, otherwise you won't get Ice Burn. I am even guilty of making this mistake myself because I had a really old Kyurem that for some reason I thought had Glaciate. I was like super confident, I was way overconfident, so I fused it. It didn't have Glaciate, and I just wasted 1,000 energy just like that. It is a huge regret of mine. It's something that I could have easily just not done, but I wasn't paying attention. It happens. I'm sure it's happened to plenty of you guys out there, so you can relate with my pain. Anyways though, if you do happen to fuse together White Kyurem correctly and you do get Ice Burn, this Pokemon is so much better than like every other ice type in the game. So ideally you want to have 5 of these, maybe even just 6 of them, because when it comes down to the Mega Evolutions, nothing is really that close. Now I'm going to assume that most of you probably aren't going to have 6 White Kyurem, in which case the next best option is going to be Shadow Mamoswine. I was lucky enough to get the Shadow Hundo, so yeah, I got that thing maxed out. It is good to go. I'm probably not going to build 6 White Kyurem in the future because I want to definitely use that. On top of that, we do also have Shadow Weavile with Ice Shard plus Avalanche. I do have a Shadow Shiny Weavile that I powered up. I love using that one. These last 3 typings are going to be really good, so buckle up. So first up, we have the Steel typing, which is going to have Zamazenta Crowned and Zacian Crowned. Zamazenta, you want to have Metal Claw plus Behemoth Bash, and then for Zacian Crowned, you want to have Metal Claw plus Behemoth Blade. Now, what I really love about these 2 Pokemon is that you only need to have 1,000 energy to fuse them permanently. Like, you can always transform them into their crowned forms, and then if you ever want to like transform them back into their hero forms, you can do it for free, unlimited amount of times. I wish this was the case for White and Black Kyurem, and same thing with the Necrozma fusions, but unfortunately it is not. They make you spend all 1,000 energy again, which is just so freaking annoying. But yeah, Zamazenta Crowned and Zacian Crowned, they actually did that right for the player base. And what's even nicer about this is that the game is going to give you a warning if you don't even have Iron Head. They'll be like, use a charge jam to get Iron Head right now, and boom, that's it. You can't transform them without Iron Head. It's just perfect. I feel like they implemented this so well. Anyways though, talking about Zamazenta Crowned and Zacian Crowned, these 2 are the best Steel-type attackers in the game by a mile. Now, I'm not saying the Duskmane Necrozma got outclassed by a big amount. It's like maybe a few points lower compared to these 2 with Sunsteel Strike. But keep in mind, not only are Zacian Crowned and Zamazenta Crowned super good as Steel-type attackers, they're also the number 1 and number 2 options in the Master League meta right now, and they are extremely useful in max battles. Zacian Crowned is like the best generalist attacker in the game. It annihilates everything. And then Zamazenta Crowned is one of the best defenders in the game next to Blissey, so that thing is just super tanky. It literally starts the battle with a shield. That's like one of the coolest bonuses in my opinion. These Pokemon were just released into the game about over a month ago, at least their crown forms were, and so I hope you guys were able to raid them. We are going to have a second chance to raid them again at the end of August, so if you weren't able to get enough energy to transform them, time, I would strongly recommend saving up your raid passes now to make sure you at least get one of each. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. These two are crazy good in every aspect of this game right now. They're probably some of the best Pokemon you can invest into, period. Now, for those of you out there who already built a Duskmane Necrozma, just know that Pokemon is also still really good as well. It's in the top 10 for the Open Master League. It's the next best Steel type next to Zamazenta and Zacian Crown form, so it's still a really, really strong option. And yeah, that's basically about it. Like, I don't want you guys to think that Duskmane Necrozma got outclassed, because it really didn't. It's like slightly worse. I mean, Zacian and Zamazenta are good in everything, where Duskmane Necrozma is still good in a few aspects of the game, like Open Master League, and then also as a Steel type. That's still pretty solid. Now, where exactly does that leave Shadow Metagross, right, with Meteor Mash? Because that was one of the best Steel types you could power up in Pokemon GO, until we got Zacian, Zamazenta, and Duskmane Necrozma. And yeah, Shadow Metagross isn't exactly the best investment anymore, because those three Pokemon that I just mentioned, that's what you actually want to go with. And realistically, you might end up building like 2 Zacian to use as attackers in max battles, plus 1 Zamazenta crowned, so that leaves you with like 1 or 2 options left in your team of 6, and Shadow Metagross could fit there. Like, if you already built one, you can still use it, but moving forward, I don't know that I would necessarily invest a lot of resources into this Pokemon. Next up, let's go over our Fairy type options. So most things have stayed the same here, but we do actually have Zacian Crown form, which despite not having access to a Fairy type fast move, Metal Claw plus Play Rough makes it one of the best fairy types in the game, just because it's so freaking powerful. So yeah, if you have a Zacian Crown form build, unlock that secondary charge move and give it Play Rough. You can use it as a fairy type too now. Of course, though, for the pure fairy types, we have Mega Gardevoir with Charm plus Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Gardevoir, same moveset, Enamorous Incarnate with Fairy Wind plus Dazzling Gleam, and then finally we have Xerneas with Geomancy plus Moonblast. Geomancy is going to be a legacy fast move, and this Pokemon does actually rank decently well in the Open Master League, so if you do happen to get a good IV spread, it is worth building. But you know, again, the whole Zacian thing here, that thing is just so freaking OP right now, man. It's crazy good. If you have the chance to raid this more at the end of August, please do it. It is so worth it. Now, finally, we have the Dragon type category, arguably the longest category in these videos because there are so many good Dragon types you can build. There's 2 or 3 new additions, maybe 4 new additions that I want to talk about. But the number 1 Pokemon that is about to get released into Pokemon GO for the Dragon type category is going to be Eternatus. Now guys, regardless of the IV spread you get on your Eternatus, do not be afraid to power it up. The most important thing when it comes down to powering up a Pokemon are going to be the base stats. The IVs add to the base stats. It's gonna cost a lot of candy according to the leaks that we've seen so far, so I don't know how realistic it's gonna be, but just know, if you happen to get this thing up there, I mean, it's better than Mega Rayquaza as a Dragon type. That's just, it was crazy to me when I actually saw it. I had to double check the information. I was like, there's no way, right? But with Dragon Tail plus Dynamax Cannon, Eternatus is actually that good. So Mega Rayquaza with Dragon Tail plus either Outrage or Breaking Swipe is the best Dragon type attacker in the game, or at least it was the best Dragon type attacker in the game, but Eternatus is slightly better than even that. Now, like I mentioned, due to the data mined information, the candy costs look pretty expensive, so it's not going to be an easy thing to power up, but also according to the data mined information, during that weekend for the GoFest finale, the drop rate is supposed to be very, very generous. So I think it's going to go hand in hand. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people are freaking out about, but Eternatus is one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. It makes sense that it's not going to be an easy thing to just power up. So moving on, we talked about Eternatus. We kind of briefly touched on Mega Rayquaza. That will be the best Mega option you guys can go with. Some other really good options you might want to power up. Shadow Palkia, solid option if you happen to get a good IV spread from Giovanni. That's really good with Dragon Tail plus Draco Meteor. We also have Palkia Origin Form, my personal favorite, with Dragon Tail plus Spatial Rend. When it comes down to Palkia Origin Form, because Spatial Rend isn't a guaranteed moveset you're going to get when you actually raid this Pokemon, I would strongly recommend Lucky Trading for it. That's the most consistent way to possibly get like a 90% IV or higher. Otherwise, raiding for this guy, it's not going to go super well, because I've had friends who have raided, they got the hundos, but they didn't get the moveset, and you can't actually Elite TM to get an Adventure Effect moveset, and so it's pretty much just a paperweight. It's not nearly as good without Spatial Rend. You really gotta have that moveset. The same thing goes for Dialga Origin Form, which I was about to talk about. This Pokemon with Roar of Time, same situation. Now we do have some other Shadow options I want to go over. We have Shadow Salamence, Shadow Dialga, which just got recently released, Shadow Garchomp, Shadow Dragonite, and then we do also have the newly released, as of February this year, Black Kurim. Now when it comes down to Black Kurim, it kind of has the same power potential as a Shadow Dialga and Shadow Garchomp, so we have 6 spots right in our team of 6 for the raid type attackers. We have Mega Rayquaza, ideally, as our Dragon-type Mega. Then we have Eternatus with Dynamax Cannon, that's going to be super good. We also have Palkia Origin Form with Spatial Rend, also very, very good. If you at least go with those 3 options to power up, I guarantee you will not regret it. Otherwise, that pretty much covers my mid-year update for the best Pokemon to power up in Pokemon Go. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. For those of you that made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to smash that like button, and of course, let me know in the comment section down below which Pokemon you've personally powered up this year. And if you do want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos next.